How do you establish personal boundaries? Hi, I'm Heather, and this is my series on getting unstuck. This one is about personal boundaries and personal resources. What exactly is a boundary? In regards to personal boundaries, these are rules and limits that I set for myself in relationships. It's a fence, if you will, that we want others to respect for us and regarding our physical bodies, in verbal communication, emotions, and even our workplace interactions. I included this reason in the Why I'm Stuck series because I've seen this a lot in counseling. Someone comes in to a session full of stress, frustrated with life situations, and too exhausted to make changes. Yes, this scenario could come from a number of reasons, but the biggest one I've noticed is poor or lack of personal boundaries. This can come from a number of different things. One is codependent relationships. Someone in our life has a great need and needs our support continuously. Some of our loved ones' needs can be very valid. It's not always connected to alcoholism. Sometimes it's great health concerns or conditions. Another reason is disproportionate responsibility, meaning this can even look like a guilt complex, being too responsible for other people's well-being or feelings, even as far as being the family clown and keeping everyone happy. So you never let yourself just be. The other one is fear. This can be fear of rejection, fear of failure. It can even be fear of losing the relationship and of saying no. What happens is when we don't have healthy boundaries for ourselves, we allow the depletion of our own resources too far past where we need to take care of ourselves. Example, picture in a perfect reality that you wake up with a budget of 100% energy in the mental, emotional, and physical part of yourself to manage yourself and to manage your responsibilities and the relationships in your circle. What if one of the people in your relationships or in your world comes and takes a lot of your energy? What if when they leave, you end up with significantly less energy than you actually need for yourself and your responsibilities and your relationships? What if that person did it on a regular basis? And what if multiple people are doing that? With that scenario, I would expect to see someone who is stressed out and possibly physically sick. If you find yourself regularly frustrated with certain people or even anxious about an upcoming visit with a certain person, there's probably a boundary issue. If this sounds like you, you are not alone. Things can get better, and you are worth standing up for. You are not a victim. I went over the victim mentality in my previous video, and I would love for you to watch it. We are only responsible for ourselves. So, are the ones taking more from you at fault? Possibly. But not being a victim includes not casting blame. We can only manage ourselves. Please note, if others being held accountable for their actions and even justice is important, if you are or you know someone who's being harmed, please seek professional help and call the proper authorities. What now? What if I recognize a boundary issue within myself? There are lots of amazing resources out there regarding personal boundaries. One of my favorites is the Boundaries book by Drs. Cloud and Townsend. Here are some simple steps to start establishing your boundaries to protect yourself and your personal resources. What are your values? This is your yes. A boundary denotes value on the other side, and if you don't know what your values, both inherent and what you have to offer, it's hard to protect it. An example is I value my family and my peace. That means I try to set up boundaries to protect both my family, my relationships with them, and my peace, both inward in myself and in my environment. How do you set boundaries? This is your no. I say no to things that I believe will interfere with my values, like my family and my peace. I work to protect my quiet time with the Lord because He fills me back up with the peace. I try to limit chaos like screen times because in my house that interferes with both my values, peace and family. Practice. You have to practice your level of boundaries. You will have to practice setting up new or heightened ones. And people that once depleted too much of your energy are probably going to be put off by you begin saying something like, I am refusing to argue with you, or I need to take a pause and come back to this conversation in a few minutes, or I'm happy to have this conversation with you when your voice sounds like mine. We are telling them that we require respect and a lack of yelling or name calling or whatever it is to have a conversation with you. The harder one might be, you can come back to my house when you can act respectfully. Obviously, these statements can be very different depending on your person or relationship that you're dealing with. And some people don't need to be asked to respect you or your boundaries, but some will have to be restricted from having access to you until their behavior changes. For some Christians, the building of our inner strength and our emotional resources may seem counter to trusting in God. However, I don't think emotional development is in some way unspiritual. Building your self-worth may be a matter of people learning to accept the skills and abilities that God has given them and learning the meaning of grace, that they are accepted. And this is even though they're not perfect. Self-acceptance does not mean that you attempt to function apart from God. Also, self-sacrificing and boundaries. Are these conflicting? I thought as a Christian that I am supposed to be self-sacrificing just as Jesus was. Yes, there are so many scriptures in the Bible that talk about selflessness and turning the other cheek. The difference between having poor personal boundaries and living a life of self-sacrifice is choice. With poor personal boundaries, there's a lack of self-value, and whoever wants to push their way in can and take whatever they need or want from you. With self-sacrifice, I choose to show love, and I choose to give of myself to help and to serve. Nobody's taking it from me. If this is something that you are recognizing yourself in, that you would like help in, that you've found yourself stuck in, I have time for you. I would love to talk with you. Please contact me. My information is in the description. Thank you.